What up? What's up, everybody? Good morning. Welcome to another edition of the Brothers of Legacy, where we don't stand out, we stand up. Right now we're talking about cable and connection, so just stand by. So,
Yeah, they
um,
get us.
so like on StreamYard, you get the little thing that's saying your broadcasting is weak, like your connection.
Right,
So it's like it's not us, it's your connection.
right.
So I usually get that like once or twice. Sometimes last night I didn't get it at all because I'm connected to the new
Straight to the
company. So
okay.
I don't know, but like most things, it start
Well,
off
I'm
nice.
I'm gonna keep my fingers crossed for you.
it start
I
it start
look.
off
I
nice.
I, I hope they do you better than they did me. Like I said, they
Yeah.
blamed everything. Well, it's COVID right now, so we can't really send a technician out to your house. If you
Wow.
can't send a technician out to my house, why do I have a product that you can't service?
Right.
Um,
Right.
so that was my hang up with them because
Gotcha.
theoretically, I got fiber.
Right.
I got 1,000
Right. Supposed to have all these.
megabyte. Yeah, so
Right.
I'm like, I got all the upgrades, but I was like, my 300 megabyte on Xfinity last year was working better than this.
Right. Like my old dial up was doing better than this.
Like,
What's up,
what up,
Lisa?
Lisa?
Good morning. Good morning. It's so crazy to think about that, how internet used to be.
Right.
Like,
Oh
oh
man.
man, who calling? Messing up my connection.
Good
Trying
morning,
to
Mama Corey.
Good morning, Mama Corey. Trying to download my illegal movies.
Look, I remember being a teenager and going to the grocery store and getting the little AOL CDs. Like, oh, I'm finna get me some free.
Oh man, with the 10 hour.
Oh man, I just aged myself.
All right. Oh man, good morning. Listen, I remember that joint too. Because
That's still no
we didn't
superior.
even have a computer in our house.
No, we didn't either, but I used to get them CDs for the store anyway.
Get 10 hours.
I'm telling you.
Oh man, yeah, I remember when when AOL opened up. They messed their system up because too many people logged on
Right,
at the same
right.
time. I remember that it crashed because they weren't ready for continuous streaming, continuous internet for everybody.
How much has times changed?
Right,
People were still writing letters back then.
right,
You had
right.
to.
How people had house phones.
Yeah. I can't remember the last house phone I had now.
Listen, I literally before my mother passed, probably like it's sad to say, maybe like 5, 6 years ago. Imagine this, 5, 6 years ago. Hey, what's up, Rich? I had to literally
Appreciate it, sir.
convince my mom to change from her house phone. I was like,
Cole.
Mom, you're paying insurance. You're paying like this. We don't do this no more. You don't have to pay for all this stuff for your house phone. Go and hook up with cable. She didn't want to do it because they were going to change her phone number.
I'll see. You can't, an older person, you can't change their phone. Look,
Oh,
we
you
had
paying
my
like
childhood.
$60.
We had my childhood phone number for so long, I
Right.
still remember it. And I ain't
Right.
lived at home in over 25 years.
Right. Listen, I remember some of my neighbors' phone number, and I'm not a person that remember a lot of numbers. I
I
remember my
remember
neighbor's phone
I
number.
remember the church phone number. It's still the same because it's the church.
Church, right?
They still got a
They ain't
landline.
changing that. They
Yeah,
ain't
right.
changing that.
I remember dead people phone numbers.
Right.
Wow,
Right. Right. Like
you
that. That
old
number,
man.
that
You
don't even work
old.
no more. Yeah. Oh man. All right, guys. So that's not what we're talking about today. We're just kind of taking a trip, talking about changing internet service. So right now, I'm gonna just put AT&T on blast. That's the connection I'm having right now. So if you see anything mess up, let's blame AT&T.
Look, this is what we're gonna say about AT&T. AT&T is gonna be in this case like the boyfriend who didn't have no act right when he was with female A, and now that he's with female B, we're praying
We'll
that he
see.
got some act right
He got
because
some back right.
he won't she won't mature with me. What up, Chris?
He said, I'm so big. They let me drive by myself in the HOV.
Wow, look, I was in the
Chris.
HOV lane at 1 o'clock in the morning when I was heading to my brother's funeral. There wasn't
Wow.
any traffic on the road in
Wow.
North Atlanta, and
Yeah.
I got a ticket in the mail.
Oh.
There wasn't a single car on the road. Where
Wow.
they said I was in the HOV lane. I wasn't in the HOV lane, but
You're too close. You're
right.
close. Good morning, V.
What up,
Great
V?
morning to you, my friend. He said email, text, face, Zoom, yes, but I still handwriting. Letters to certain friends. Wow. He said, "Oh,
Just
Kevin,
real
I'm
quick, man. Hey, look,
Listen,
AD, when was the
listen,
last time you wrote a letter?
man, typed or even handwritten. Man, it's got to be
Let me tell you how bad. Let me tell you how
90s.
bad it got for me. When people order my book and I send it out,
Yeah.
I literally have to get on my phone. How do you address a letter? I was like, do my name go up top or do it go on the bottom? It's embarrassing. I know it's embarrassing to those of us that know how to write letters,
Right, right. We were
but
taught
for
this in
maybe
school.
the newer generation, you might be like, okay, I don't know that either. But yeah, I
Yeah.
literally have to get online. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I got it. I was right.
Right, right. Or even like they don't teach the kids script, like how you sign a name. Like my
Yeah,
daughter had just been practicing. She's like, I got it, daddy. But yeah, it's crazy. Like some of the things have changed. Like, the basic stuff that you used to just learn in school that you're not. Like,
right.
I don't get it. All right. So today, on the show, he said carry pigeon. He said,
I
Taiwan
missed it.
said, I got too many brothers in jail. I write a letter a week, but I type it. I got you. I
That's
got
what's
you.
up.
Oh, good morning, Miss Shirley. So, what is it? Oh, HOV, the high occupant on the
Yeah,
highway where you got to have
it's
two or more people in the car.
you got to have more than just the driver.
Yeah, more than just a driver, and it allows you to get in that special lane. Let's see. He said I've typed many since then, but it's been a minute. Nice. Like I'm trying to think of the last letter I actually typed. Like, yeah,
Now,
I know. I'm bad.
if I'm writing a letter, I'm writing it. I ain't typing it.
Right. Oh no,
But
I
yeah,
can't write it.
it was just yeah.
I,
See, I miss your humor, Chris. It's good to
he
see
said
it
focus,
again.
people focus.
And for those of y'all
Listen,
that
it's
don't
bad if Chris
know,
got to tell us to focus.
this brother has like him and Cole should do an infomercial together.
Oh man.
Like their voices are perfect. Cole, when you get ready to go into the voiceover world, you need to
Right.
holler at Chris.
Yeah. Oh man, Chris. Yeah, that'd be interesting. He said, "Oh yeah, it's commuter lane. Yeah, yeah. They just call it
Ah,
the
got
HOV
you.
here. Yeah." Because I was about to ask, so like, what state are you in? Because I'm sure there's probably some states without it. There you
Yeah,
go.
South Carolina, we don't have enough occupancy to have an HOV lane.
HOV.
Unless you go into the beach in the summer. That's it.
Nice, nice. All right. Oh, this kind of became a different kind of show. All right. So today we're talking about who I am versus who you want me to be. It's funny. I saw this. We talked about this on Purpose for Forever like a year ago, and it came up, and I was like, "Let's talk about that here. Let's talk about this." I appreciate that. Thanks.
Yes, sir.
Um, so two things before we get started. First off, make sure you join our community. Text brothers to 84576. Text brothers to 84576. And tonight, at 7:30, will be 7 o'clock. Will be Solomon's Temple Christian Ministries online Bible study. So I want you guys to check it out. We're gonna do this, and then we're gonna start the show. I realized I just kind of broke rank and protocol, but that's the great part about having your own show. You do an ad before the intro and you kind of hype it up. So today we're talking about who I am versus who you want me to be. And just if you're first time in the building, watching this on replay, like who are these guys? This is the Brothers of Legacy. We don't stand out, we stand up. And we have our show every day, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to whenever we stop talking. So stay tuned. We're going to kick it off. Hang tight. Be right back. I didn't want to catch that. Morning. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to another edition. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. What's up, everybody?
Hey, I don't know what it is, AD, but this morning I felt like I can't rap, but in my head when the beat
You're
came
dropping
on,
some bars, right?
yeah, I had bars for days. I just dropped like a hot 6 just now. I dropped like a hot 6. Can't tell you what it was, but it was hot.
It's always amazing what happens in your head as opposed to what comes out. Because I've had it in my head, and I threw something on. I actually had the mic on. I was like, yeah, no, let me go cut this mic off. That ain't it. That ain't it. That ain't it.
It's just like the visual of having this in front of me. I was like, yeah. No.
All right. So today we're talking about who I am versus who you want me to be. So in respect to that, I always think about, as you're growing up and as you're becoming and becoming into your own person, what people see you becoming, and they want to shape you into that. Don't laugh at us. Don't laugh at us.
You see the one at the ear, like.
So it's like seeing somebody's gift and putting them into a box as this is all of who they are, and then you receiving that and kind of limiting who you are. You said, I got you. Limiting who you are based on other people's perception, if that makes sense. Like, let's just say, you went the military route, the police route. Security is where you're supposed to be. Security, intel, like that's who you are. That's what you should be doing. Yet there's so much more to who you are. And if you get so caught up in what you think people expect you to be, then you limit yourself in your life. You know what I'm saying? And I know a lot of people
Absolutely.
that have so many different gifts that they limit themselves because of either some notoriety in a certain space or getting puffed up, too much in one area that they never explore more. And I'll say I notice sometimes in church, I know a musician that's like amazing,
Right.
But I consistently tell them, like, listen, you have more than just behind the keyboard. Unfortunately, most churches like you behind the keyboard because you're nice, but you have more than that. Like he's taught, he spoke, he just like, man, there's so much more in you. I don't want you to ever limit yourself or get caught or stuck in that space where you're never sharing more of what's in you, because we want all of who you are, because your gifting, was it the gift you're saying?
Whether you're God's gift to the world.
Yeah, a gift unopened.
A gift unopened is worthless.
Right. And we have so many that we don't open because we feel like, I've already opened. That's enough. It's kind of like Christmas time. Those that either celebrated know about it. There's gifts under the tree. You go around, look for your name. You open a couple.
You open that one that you like, and it's like, oh, hey,
that's it.
Oh, I've been wanting this. Oh, and leave the other 300 there for a couple hours.
And then
don't even touch
someone goes, hey, you got other gifts under the tree. And then you start opening, like, oh man, I didn't even know about this. Oh man, I didn't even know about this. And we're missing out on the fruits of our life, by not opening more gifts. So getting out of my speech there, how do you feel, or do you feel people have put you in a box as to who you're supposed to be?
Oh, initially, well, it depends on which people you're talking about, because different people do the same thing in different aspects.
Right.
Growing up, I was supposed to be a preacher. Like, I got ordained at 14,
Okay.
and I was supposed to be a preacher, pastor, prophet, all of that, like early, early.
Right.
And the fact of the matter for me is there was a lot of blocks and a lot of boxes I didn't check.
Okay.
Not that you, for me personally, the development and the growth portion.
Right.
So when I went a different route, I don't know if I necessarily disappointed people,
Right.
but I felt like I disappointed people because I didn't do what the people I respect wanted me to do.
Mhm.
And I can say that level of disrespect or disappointment I thought I had provided to other people,
Right.
it did hinder me. I've always said this: I've been great at so many things, um, but I never met my full potential in them because people wasn't as hyped about me as I was. And now I'm at a point where it doesn't matter. I'm a do me. I'm if it breaks big, it breaks big. If not, that's cool too, because like some of the best people at all the things that we enjoy in life, most of the greats wasn't considered great until they were no longer here, unless you talk about the sports world. Writers, most writers don't get flowers while they're here. As a matter of fact, some of them is 100 years past the time that they published a book, and all of a sudden, The Old Man and the Sea is a classic. Um, Nobody was checking for Hemingway when he was alive. Nobody wanted a Picasso when he was alive.
Right.
So I'm in a space now where, hey, I'm gonna embrace and embody who I'm supposed to be, and it's gonna be what it's gonna be. The people who are supposed to be impacted, they're gonna be impacted. The people who are supposed,
Okay.
what up, Terry? The people who are supposed to be influenced are gonna be influenced.
Right.
I was a great soldier. I
Right.
mean, I was better than average. I've been better than average, and this is not me bragging or boasting. It's just me knowing me. Every single thing that I've done in life that I've decided to do,
Right.
when you take the entire field of who's doing it at the same time, I
Right.
was better than the average. Everything with the exception of basketball. I was a great defender. I had a lot of energy, but I sucked at basketball. But everything else, I was better. I was better than average. But I didn't apply myself because I always went back to what people told me I was
Right.
supposed to be.
Right.
So yeah, that
Nice.
can hinder you.
Oh, Sam says, yeah, but you can't do everything. You don't want to be a jack of all trades, but a master of none. Yes, indeed. I do believe that. Yeah, you can't do everything. You can't do everything. I do believe though you should make sure you're not leaving any of your gifts on the table. Um, because sometimes, like I said, in life, you get caught up in one small box or one small part of who you are and never get an opportunity to open up, you know, what really matters. There are more gifts and more things that intertwine into one than you could imagine. So I always just make sure you have an opportunity to at least explore who you are. Do what you're great at. Do what
Right.
you're great at in the moment. What's paying the bills. Um, but don't get so lost in one space that you don't recognize other things that you're great at. That's
But
my
let me
main thing.
ask you. Let me ask you and Sam a question.
Yeah.
What's wrong with being a jack of all trades?
I think, and that's a good question. But for me, what I say, and and this goes back to some people I talk to that I've you begin having the coach conversation or the
Mm-hmm.
business conversation. Yeah, I do this, I do this, I do this, I do this, I do this. Okay, so what's the one thing you're focused on?
Mm-hmm.
Like what's the one thing you've honed a lot of your skills at? Because people talk about multiple streams of income, but you can't start multiple streams at one time. It's
Right.
like it's like
Mm-hmm.
finding that good spot, because a lot of people, like let's talk about TD Jakes.
Mm-hmm.
His good spot was preaching. He wrote some
Right.
books. That was his 90s things. That's what took him from who he is to kind of getting the notoriety. Then he moved into movies. I think he's writing some of the scripts. He's executive produced. Like so his big stream, his first stream was preaching. Like he went out preaching and writing books. That was his thing, preaching and writing books.
Right.
But now he's able to start other streams because his preaching and writing books has brought in enough that he can move into his other gifts. He can open up new opportunities. So he didn't just stick himself in one spot. He was able to do more, and now he's because he did a few movies, I think early 2000, and then he began to open up more, and like I think he just bought some land right by Tyler Perry's studio. I'm not sure what he's about to do with it. If anybody knows, put it in the comment section. So I'm not sure what he's about to, but obviously it's probably going to be in the same vein. I don't know if they posted it. It may have, because it's
Right.
a ongoing story. So we know that get good at least the main thing. Like I spoke about the musicians that can preach. He got great at playing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I guess my question. So I guess my question. I guess my question is this:
Yes.
Is he still not a jack of all trades, or did he focus on the gifting of that time to firm his foundation?
Yes, he mastered.
Because now he's still an amazing preacher.
Yeah,
he's still an amazing writer. Right. He's still he wrote songs back in the day that were big. So he still does it all.
Right.
But now he's in a position where he can. So I think a better way of saying it, because I think that saying sometimes, like, I was told that, and when I was told that, I wasn't told that with understanding. Well, I didn't have understanding.
I got you.
So
I got you.
It was my understanding when somebody told me that was, hey, be the one thing and don't worry about these other things.
Right.
The way you did, that's why I asked the question.
Yeah.
No, let your gift make room. And when your gift makes room for you, then it puts you in positions where now you can do this and you can do that.
Right.
And it's like, I think it was V said and McNair, they said that V said being busy but not being productive.
Right.
Because when all you're doing is trying to do a little bit of everything, you're just trying to find a niche.
Right.
But when you master one thing and then become a jack of all trades because you can, and because your gift has made room for you, it's a different concept then.
Right. It's crazy. It's crazy. For forever, I only heard the first part of it. Oh, you was a jack of all trades. Like just constantly. You was a jack, until someone was like, and a master of none. I was like, wait a minute. I was like, wait. Jack of all trades sounded good, but then it was like, and the master of none. Like I was like, that's not really a good thing. Like, because I used to hear that a lot. Like, oh, you just a jack of all trades. So I realized that it's kind of like when you take part of a scripture, like, oh, that sounds good, but did you hear the other part?
Right.
So it's funny that when she said that, I thought about that for like forever. Like I've heard just jack of all trades, till someone just at the end, whisper like, and the master of none. Like, oh yeah, you're doing all this stuff, and it's kind of going back to the same analogy I was speaking about under the tree. You ever had a Christmas where you just opening everything? You just I got everything, and then you try to play with everything at one time. As opposed to opening one, getting understanding. Wow, this is dope. Oh man, play with it, and then move to the next one. So it is that growth process. Do
you think it's possible that some people aren't designed to be a master of anything? Because we're quick to say, oh, they role players in sports. We're quick to say, oh yeah, he ain't a supervisor, but he's a good worker. We're quick to say those things. So is it possible that some people aren't designed to be a master of a trade, but to be effective at what they do?
Right. I believe, no, I think people just try to get into too much, and some people just aren't supervisors, at least in this space. Like at this job, you're not built for it. Like either your personality or the people that you have to supervise. Let's keep it real. Some people just like, man, you got to be a certain person just to supervise these folk, especially if you're at a job where the people have been there a long time. Like they always bump up younger people like over these older folks, and it's just like it's a
Yeah.
challenge. People are set in their ways. This is how we do it. We never. So I feel like in certain spaces, yeah, you're probably not designed to be supervisor there. You know,
When I was a staff sergeant in the Army, I had and I was 26. I was a 26-year-old staff sergeant, and that's a it's 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 the upper part of junior leadership, right?
wow,
And I was 26.
right,
I had a 52-year-old sergeant underneath me.
wow.
You got to understand. I grew up in the South where we say yes,
Yes,
sir,
sir.
no, ma'am, and we
Yes,
respect
indeed,
our elders.
indeed,
And
indeed.
here I am with somebody old enough to be my father as my soldier.
Right, 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 right. Yeah,
It was a process,
right.
but there was days where I had to say, I know he's not watching this, but even if he was, I've had this conversation with him before. Sergeant Winthrop, you too old. I've given you a directive,
Right.
and you over here lollygagging.
Oh wow.
What's the malfunction?
Wow.
It's not a comfortable place to be.
Right.
But if you can't be comfortable,
Right.
given those things, then you're not cut
Right.
out for it.
Right. It's
So
challenging.
yeah, it's gonna challenge you.
Right. Let me read some of these comments. Richard said, Goodson Dwayne, try to grow up trying to live up to a truly gifted brother. Dad was okay, but I always seemed to disappoint mother until she was dependent on me.
That'll
That's
change a
wow.
lot.
Become a master of one thing first, then master a second and third, and be above average at everything else, and hire people who are masters of things you're not. Nice. Yes,
That's
indeed.
wisdom.
Yeah.
And that's good leadership too, by the way.
Definitely. He said, I believe talents we have are seasonal and it feeds into the overall gift. Kind of going to where did he put that at? Or did I pass it?
Was it
What
McNair?
McNair said, some
Yeah.
gifts are only a journey to your destiny. He said they believe certain talents. Yep, seasonal. Let's see. And Richard said, interesting perspective. I think some things, gifts and talents are for many seasons. Oh yeah, I did. Did the Bonita betrayal. I ain't one to gossip. So you ain't heard it from me. So when I was a security officer, I filled in at every different post on the staff. I had the training, practice skills, and time to become a supervisor. But that time never came. It was in large part because I was considered a better role player than I was a leader. Wow. And he said, look at the kettle calling the pot. Anthony Walker going to do everything. That's right. Taking over the world, Craig.
Pinky in the
All right.
brain.
What we going to do today? What Ephraim said, what do you do when you're master at multiple things? Like Deion Sanders, for example, he was wrong to choose football over baseball. Not sure of his stats. Do you agree with that, Dwayne?
Oh, he was a monster at football.
Okay.
But I think he was equally impactful at baseball. It's hard to compare stats between the two sports.
Okay.
But you got to look at impact.
Right.
When he was in
Right.
the game, it didn't matter.
Right.
Like when you look at Bo Jackson was impressive in baseball. He was dominant in football. Dion was dominant in both, in my estimation. I think in those cases you have to determine where you make the most impact.
Right.
And if you can do both, then do both. But when you're put in a position like he was, because you remember that there was the one time where he had the football game and the baseball game in the same day.
Wow.
And he flew to Atlanta and then got a helicopter from the airport to Fulton County Stadium to play in the same day. So when your gifts start to overlap, when your gifts start to overlap and they're taking up the same space, you got to find which one of these gifts impact the most. And I think that's the one you roll with.
So Cole said Dion was not a master at baseball, so maybe he was good. I guess a little above average at best.
He was above average, but
in comparison to his football playing, he probably enjoyed it. And
when it comes to football,
yeah,
the only defensive player that I will honestly say was more impactful on that side of the ball that he played was Lawrence Taylor. Everybody else is an argument. You can make a case for, but Deion Sanders is the second greatest defensive player in football ever.
Right. So Cheryl said Jordan did the same thing. Yeah, no, I don't know. I don't think Jordan was.
Yeah. He played, and look, what I will say is, not everybody can play
Right,
AAA baseball, perhaps even Major League,
right,
and he
right,
did
right.
that.
That's true
But
too. You're right.
he
You're
won't
right.
Michael Jordan in baseball.
Right, right. I think because I think Deion Sanders was Deion of both kind
Yeah.
of sports, but yeah, Jordan didn't translate into
What
trying to
up,
be
Mark?
become great. What up, Mark? Great morning to
What's
you.
up, Miss Shaw?
Hey, good morning, Miss Shaw. He said baseball, basketball, and baseball. Yeah, he did both, but yeah, he was
Yeah, he was
the Jordan
mediocre. He was mediocre
at
in
basketball.
baseball.
Yeah, baseball. He helped him out. I heard he bought the bus. He used his money. I'm sure they're happy for that. So Trina says, my son has to choose between football and lacrosse. He's great at both. Where does the money reside? Football.
Football. I
Unfortunately,
mean,
yeah, football.
unless unless he truly doesn't want to play football as a professional, and
Right.
lacrosse can pay for his education to meet his goals.
Yeah.
If that's where he is, then he goes with his heart.
Right.
But if you're asking where the money at,
But
definitely football.
I will say, if it's going to college, right? If he's to using it for scholarship, it may depend on his level. Like football, he could be great, and they got a bunch of great people. But
Right,
lacrosse, he
because
could be
everybody's
like
doing it.
nice, like so. It's like I would do whatever to get him on my lacrosse team. Then it might be more viable for him to do lacrosse because he might be killing it enough that we'll give him a full ride. Yeah, and that's why I had to switch it up a little bit. I switched it up. I mean, I know because football makes more money, but as far as you're right, they might pay him more for lacrosse. So
And she's a New Yorker, right?
yeah,
Trina, okay? So let me tell you this: I would have laughed at this question 2 years ago. And hear me out until I watched the Wu-Tang Saga on Hulu.
okay,
And the
okay.
reason I say that, your boy Method Man, he was a lacrosse stud. He was a
Wow,
lacrosse stud in Long Island, and
wow,
his uncle was a drunk and got arrested. His grandmother
right,
had some issues, so he
right,
had to move back to Staten Island from Long Island. But when he was in Long Island, he
right.
was
That's
that
true.
dude playing
Yeah,
lacrosse. He was
yeah,
that dude. So from knowing that, I know that that's a visible area.
yeah. I was gonna say
If
that.
you're in
Yeah,
South
switching it up.
Carolina and you
Right.
playing lacrosse, yeah, you might not. Nobody may ever know your
Really
name.
noted. Right,
But
right,
being from where you are
right,
and knowing Method Man's story,
right,
like lacrosse can pay for a full ride where football may not, because
right,
like AD said, in football, my favorite team is Miami in college.
right,
Well, growing up,
right,
and if you had aspirations of playing football at Miami,
right,
let me tell you, you may get on a team if you was All American, but you had to sit behind three other All Americans.
right, right. The competition is thick. The
Right.
competition is thick. But if he's mastered lacrosse, in any way, and honestly, even forward thinking, I
That's
don't know
wisdom,
what
Trina.
the racial makeup of lacrosse players are.
I can
But
assume.
it's it's because like any sport, everybody wants the breakout player for their sport to become national, for more people to get eyes on it, like soccer for a minute with Pele. They
Mhm.
people want their sport to grow into something more. So if he's that great, he could actually, maybe carve a lane. But that's forward thinking. Lacrosse
Look,
is, yeah, that's what I was thinking. But like I said, my assumption could have been wrong.
look here. Check that. Check. Can you see that?
Let me see. So yeah. Oh yeah, yes indeed. Where's that?
That's Carolina. And the
Carolina.
only reason I pulled them up because I
That's
know they
10%
won
of
a
us.
couple national championships.
Right. So it might be. So maybe a good space for him. It may be a good space, a good breakout space. So that's a thought, depending on what school he's trying to go to. Um. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah. That the lacrosse. I'm glad you broke that down, because where's the money?
Yeah.
Look, if he's excelling in lacrosse, they might be looking for him,
Right. Right.
especially on, oh, he's a minority. Oh,
Right.
we need one of those.
Right. Right. All right. Yeah, Cole said depends on the school. He played to if he have to play for school like Syracuse, John Hopkins, or Duke. Right. And Richard, William Perry, John Riggins, Jerry Rice, Walter Payton. He's saying those. I don't think those they played multiple sports as far as I know. And
Great
Trent said
football players.
they were great. Now, yeah, I know the name, so they were great football players. Like so.
Among
I didn't know if they played other sports or dabbled in anything else. So yeah, so as far as becoming, who you designed to be, how would you say you have found more of your gifting in different places instead of being stuck? How would you say helped you open up more gifts for yourself? What was it that you went through or helped you discover things?
you see what McNair's last comment is?
He said most times it's also best to, I guess, do what you love. Yes.
That was the crux of it.
Okay.
Where my heart and where my passion is,
Right. Right.
that's like, just because you can do other stuff. When I was in the military, it got to a point where it started feeling like work.
Right.
It started feeling like work, and I was like, yeah, I don't want to do this forever.
Right.
um,
Right.
this I can do this 24/7. Like this is easy.
Right.
Writing is easy,
Right.
and I love it. And it comes from me. It comes out of me.
Right.
It's my experiences. It's my emotions. It's everything that makes up who I am. It fuels that fire. So for me, it's that internal love, whatever it is internally that you wouldn't want to be here if you had to give it up.
Right.
I think that's part of that. For me, that's what it was.
Nice. I think, yeah, I think uh situations, just introspective, realizing, that there is more. I think set me on my journey to try to do this and do more things. Like since the '90s, I watched Les Brown first on
Mhm.
TV, then I had the opportunity to see him live, and it inspired me. Like I just always wanted to inspire people, always wanted to help others. But with life, you get caught up in your have tos.
Mhm.
It's like I got to go to work, I got to do this. So you feel like, that time has passed. Um, until you're sitting on on the bed and you realize, man, I gotta have more impact. There's just more in me to have
And what you're
impact.
saying rings of Dr. Miles Monroe. I
Right.
don't know if you guys have ever listened to Dr. Miles Monroe, the late Dr. Miles Monroe, but he was an amazing teacher. And
Yes.
one of the things that he taught that stuck with me, that sticks with me, is your purpose and your job. Who you are and your purpose and your job are two different things.
Right.
He said that your job is what you do until your purpose can take care of you.
Right.
So you work your job, but your job is not who you are.
Right.
Your
Right.
job pays the bills
Right.
until who you are can pay bills.
Right. That's good. um, Cole and Bo Jackson. So Shirley
Oh
Baker
yeah,
asked, "How do you classify Bo Jackson?" Bo
yeah,
Jackson, one of the greatest athletes I ever laid eyes on. It was
absolutely.
unfortunate he got injured in the beginning of his prime. Wow, really good baseball player, baseball and dominant football. I was wondering about that.
Bo Jackson
Um,
was such an amazing athlete that because he was such an amazing athlete, his injury took him out of the game permanently. If Bo
wow.
Jackson was a mediocre athlete and
Right.
had the same injury,
Right.
his body wouldn't have been strong enough and he would have been able to recover from it. He was so strong that his hips continued to move after being hit, where most people would have went down.
Right.
His hips and the strength went through the motion of causing further damage because he was that strong.
Wow. Hold on. I'm gonna get to that. It says you can be really good at many things, and it just isn't how the world is inspired by you. I can write a song like nobody's business, but it wasn't for me to impact people with music. Interesting. Let's see. Steve said, your job is what you're paid for, but your purpose is what you're here for. Yes, indeed. I still listen to his teachings. Yeah. No, it was amazing. It's crazy. Like, I didn't get into Miles Monroe till he passed.
Oh, wow.
I like I would see him. I don't know. I
Mhm.
just wouldn't listen. You know how you look at some preachers just kind of,
Yeah.
and then one day
You
like
don't want
someone,
nobody new. It's like
but
you
you know
get
what it was? People started repurposing
his
his
messages.
messages, so they put the titles up, and I was like, let's check this out. And then he began to speak on it. I was like,
Yes.
oh,
Oh, so and
that's
so did
interesting.
that.
Right. This is interesting. Yeah, like it just they titled it right. It wasn't just out and open. What's up, Pastor? Great morning to you,
Hey
sir.
there. Morning.
He said Bo Jackson was so dominant at football, he went straight from playing a full baseball season onto the football field. No preseason, no training camp. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Nice. And he said, I'll amend Dr. Monroe. If you have the situation where your job and your purpose aligns, like where I am now, then your work takes on a whole new meaning.
I can believe that, sir.
He said, sorry about LeBron. What happened with LeBron?
Oh, the
Oh, he
high
got
ankle
a
sprain.
high ankle sprain.
Oh man, yeah, I seen that. That was bad. That was rough. I mean, I don't know how he's recovering, but that just the look of it.
I will say this: if he would have went for the ball instead of standing there being the greatness that he is, he wouldn't have been hurt. He got hurt on a loose ball. Like the cat from Atlanta, there was a loose ball, and he went for the ball, and he dove into LeBron's ankle, and it wasn't on purpose. If LeBron would have been going for the ball too, he wouldn't have been in a position to get hit. That's all I'm saying. Go look at the replay. Nobody's talking that angle. Nobody's talking.
All right,
that
we're
angle.
gonna listen. It's gonna be after. That's gonna be the after party. I'll talk about that.
No, it leads to a question though, AD.
Okay.
It leads to a question.
What's the question?
When you're great,
Uh-huh.
how do you keep, or when you're great, or when you're walking in your purpose, how do you keep from getting comfortable so things like that don't happen? Because there's no look. When you as great as LeBron,
Yes, indeed.
look, when you're as great as LeBron, there's certain things you're like, okay, yeah, got it. He had a moment.
Yeah.
All right. Please allow me to retort.
Please.
My only response to that is I would like for everyone who is logged on and paying attention to this powerless, useless, uncalled for rhetoric and recognize that my only response has been displayed with my previous facial expressions.
All right. With that being said, we're gonna move. Watch Sisters of Legacy tonight at 8:30. We'll be right back. Wait, I can't do it again. All right, and we're back. So listen, so let's just phrase that a little differently. We'll say
Y'all Lakers fan is being sensitive
when
right
you
now. It wasn't about a shot. I'm a LeBron fan. I won't taking shots. I won't taking shots.
just making an observation. Taiwan said LeBron's injury wasn't out of comfort. I don't think that's the message that should be sent. And Cole said, agreed. LeBron's injury is more out of an unfortunate accident. Those things happen in sports. All right. So
you know what? After rewatching, let me apologize. I
No,
misspoke.
let me say this.
I misspoke
For all of
because
you, for all of you champions out there, for all of you
right.
that operate in greatness,
Yes.
when people hate on you because something wrong happens, make sure you remind them
Ooh.
that when you have achieved such level of greatness as you
get my
have,
salt.
Wow.
remind them that there's a difference between taking a moment off
Right.
and taking a day off.
Woo.
That's
Okay.
good. But you didn't
Tell
have to
them.
do that on my
Okay.
behalf, though, sir.
Tell them
So
when
you
you
can't drop no
already have
fire
the
like that on
crown.
me.
Tell them when you already have the crown, when you already recognized as one of the greatest in your field. Remind them
Was you a
that
LeBron
you're
fan 3 years
always
ago?
under attack. You listen. You don't get in the
Would you say this
ring
about
and win the
LeBron 3
belt.
years ago?
You don't
You
get in
only
the
say this
ring
because he a
and win
Laker
the
now.
belt and be recognized as a champion of the world without ever taking a punch.
Killing me, D.
You're gonna get hit, right? But it does
Right.
not.
Yes, indeed.
It does not diminish your
Right.
championship status. It
Right.
does not
Yes,
diminish
indeed.
your legacy.
Yes, indeed.
Remember that. I
Okay.
just want to encourage
That
somebody
was good.
this
That
morning.
was a good
Okay,
word. That's how
those were
going with the
gems,
topic.
and that was absolute fire.
All
That
right.
was
That's
absolute fire.
awesome.
But it was made on the behalf. It was made because I misspoke. When I went back and looked at the play, LeBron was actually going for the
See
ball,
what I'm saying?
and
I was
that's
thinking
what I
that
was.
too. I thought I'd seen that, but
No, he was going for the ball. So the question that I posed was absolutely out of context.
all
However,
right.
that comment
He said LeBron will
that
pass the check.
but that comment still doesn't answer the question that I had, because that was a response
Okay.
to my misquote or
And in my Steve Harvey
misinformation.
voice from
Uh-oh.
Kings of Comedy, which lets me further know.
Now, was you riding that train? Was you riding that train when LeBron won at LA?
See what I'm saying? See, we ain't talking about sports right now.
I think what people forget is this doesn't say LeBron.
right.
This says Lakers.
But that's why you just
Right.
defended.
So I was a Laker
I'm
fan
trying to
before
segue.
LeBron.
I understand that.
I'll be a Laker fan after LeBron. I was a Laker fan when we weren't winning. I was a Laker fan when we were winning. See, that's the confusion. See, people think I'm on the LeBron train.
No, I don't. No, I know
So
you
today
defend.
on Brothers of Legacy, we appreciate you guys rocking, talking about who I am versus who you want me to be. So give my brothers a break. So we talked about purpose. We talked about becoming, working your job, working in the space, and it's generally a way leading to your destiny. And so I want to ask my gentlemen in a minute, let it cool down, bring it down a notch, how they feel about where they were to where they are, and just like some of their journey. All right, let's bring them. Let's bring the brothers back.
I'm gonna behave. Look, I've come out of the penalty box.
Just
Got me
actually, see,
feeling
they
like
forced
Charles
me.
Barkley.
They forced my producer hand on that one. They forced it. They forced it. All right. I mean,
Take
so
full
what
responsibility.
was your journey like from where you were to where you are now? And of course, we know this isn't the end. There's still much life in both you gentlemen. There's no telling where we'll be the next 20 to 30 years. What was some of the inspirational things that helped shape who you are?
For me, it's hard to call it inspirational.
Right.
Because at the time
Right.
it was downright harmful. It felt harmful, but it was the downs.
Right.
It was the injuries. It was the brokenness. It
Right.
was the mistakes. Because out of those things, I truly began to see God, what grace really looks like, and I began to see what experience and learning really looks like. It didn't feel good, but the product now, not the end product, but the product is where I'm at now.
Right.
I'm a better person for it.
Okay. You, Pastor?
Yeah. So you're asking what was the inspiration?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I think it begins with just pleasing your parents. It's pleasing my
Mm,
mom,
right,
right?
right, right,
Being inspired by making sure you don't disappoint. You start off with, not wanting to disappoint who raised
right,
you,
right. True.
right?
Right.
And then it was not wanting to disappoint myself,
Mm,
and then it was when becoming a family person. It became not wanting to disappoint my family, not wanting to
right,
disappoint my children. So it changes. It continues to evolve. Once
right,
it became not wanting to disappoint my family, that remained,
right,
right, and then not wanting to disappoint God,
right,
right.
right,
So now more than anything, it's all about what God sees.
right.
And I've learned that if God is smiling, then everybody else should be, except my
Mm,
haters.
Mm,
right.
that's
That's
Right.
good
good.
stuff.
I mean, that's a
That's good.
fact. And so I don't, so now it's like, growing up, it continued to change. It continued to evolve. It shifted from place to place.
Right,
You could say you don't want to disappoint your boss,
right,
um, but once it became, and I'm not talking about years ago, I'm talking about recently for me,
right,
is when it became all about God,
right. I
you
got you.
know. And so once I got that in order, my life became kingdom centered. And
Mhm.
then nothing else mattered. I felt like if I'm working to please God, then everyone connected to me should get what they need.
Okay.
Right.
That's good.
Can I
That's good.
can I give a quick response to something he said? Because he just said something that you kind of messed me up just now, Pastor. When you said recently, it hasn't been
Yes.
long ago, but recently it's been all about God. Look, that
Yeah.
statement right there, the realness of that statement.
Right.
Because I'm gonna be honest, 10 years ago, I thought that I was all about God, and then life happens, and I'm the culprit, right? And I realized, oh, it was about me. It really wasn't about God.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you grow, and it's like, okay, now when you start to see what that really looks like,
Right.
and
Right.
because I'm gonna be honest, we talked earlier, Ad,
Hmm.
about the journey. Um, what kept me from being who I was created to be
Hmm.
versus being who people thought I should be
Right.
was the fact that I felt like I disappointed God.
Mm.
So what the route that I took, since I felt like I disappointed God, was to please people.
Right. Right.
Because when people who I felt didn't disappoint God
Right.
were proud of me, in my head, I'm
Mm.
like, I'm pleasing to God now.
Mhm.
Wow.
And
Right.
it's a messed up logic, but I literally believe that
Right.
because I felt like I disappointed God. And instead of me just going back to God, going back to the will of God, going back to the word of God, and finding me in the word,
Right.
I'm like, okay, Elder Barry over here, he's proud of me. Since he's proud of me, I'm doing something right. Okay, I don't
Right.
have to worry about these shortcomings I got over here.
Right.
Oh, my mama, she always, my baby, yeah, he's so smart. He just graduated for this. He's in Korea. He's doing this. Oh, my mama's proud of me.
Right.
I'm doing something right.
Yeah.
So that you messed me up when you dropped that one, Pastor.
Wow.
Well, I
That's
mean,
deep.
I don't know how long anybody else has been Christ centered. I know that I'm 50 plus. Just be, you know, uh, and because I have lived over 50 years on the earth, I'm comfortable saying it
Right.
hasn't always been, I haven't always been Christ centered. I've always been Christ engaged, but
Right.
I haven't always been Christ centered.
Right.
Mm,
That takes something. That's a real shift. And that ain't been that long.
Wow.
that's a
Nice.
distinction.
All right.
That's a distinction.
So I'm gonna just let that marinate in everybody. We're gonna roll out of here. This is a good way to end it. Being Christ centered, understanding who you are, and like Pastor said, it hasn't been a whole lot of years because I've been saved and focused on the Lord since birth. out the mother's womb, and it's a realness to speak of it, when you really understand what's holding you up and what's keeping you, what's
Walk different.
and what's your focus, because it's it's when God is watching all the time, your actions, you're more focused on doing the right thing all the time, as opposed to, like you said, you start off with your parents inspiring. If I can do it without them seeing, I got away with it, but once you understand that someone is watching all the time, it's a whole nother level of living, especially as a man, when you're living a life unchecked, craziness can happen. When you're living a life unaccounted for or unaccountable to anything or anyone, it's a life that's out of control. So take that. And we look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. So I love that Pastor McCoy spoke without saying the words that life with God is an ever evolving process. It took maturity for me to start doing that. Coach said, nor should you be my man. What has happened to you doesn't even come close to defining you. How you evolve as a man of God is what has defined you. Blessed to know you because of that. Amen. So look good for 50, sir. And thank you for me. We focused this morning. Awesome. Prayerfully, make sure you're following. Stay connected. Join our community. Text brothers to 84576. Text brothers to 84576. You'll never miss an episode. And if you want to check us out on podcasts, make sure you look us up, Brothers of Legacy. Hear us on podcasts. Generally, we're about a day or two behind from the live. So we look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow, and be here, same place, same channel, and know that we love you, but God loves you more. And that's it. Take care. Continue greatness on this platform. Thank you, Mama McCoy. I appreciate you. All right. Peace. I didn't want to catch that. Morning. Good morning. Welcome to another episode. Good morning. What's up, everybody?